Hey everyone, this is D, Movieman, fellow cinephile, popcorn addict, and emerging film critic, coming to you with reliable recaps, reviews, and reactions. And today, I'm coming to you all with a review for Mickey Hardaway, written and directed by Marcellus Cox, and starring Rashad Hunter, Stephen Colfield Jr., and Ashley Parchment. Story-wise, the film is centered around the eponymous Mickey, a young sketch artist who agrees to an in-house therapy session with a well-renowned psychiatrist. But as he begins to uncover the years of physical and verbal abuse that has shaped him, his life threatens to spiral out of control. So, I'm going to start with the pros. I really did appreciate what this film had to say. As I mentioned, this film is written and directed by Marcellus Cox, who is an up-and-coming screenwriter and director. Marcellus did take the initiative to reach out and inquire about getting my thoughts on his film and giving a review. I am here for independent films and filmmakers. I really do feel that there are so many hidden gems out there in the cinemaverse that are independent and fly under the radar for various reasons. And if I can just take the opportunity to highlight some films that should be showcased, that should be seen by more people, then I absolutely want to do that. So with all that being said, I am very thankful to be able to highlight the work of another up-and-coming filmmaker. So first, what I appreciate most about this film is the story and the message which the story is founded upon. This is very much an exploration of pain, disruption, rage, abuse, trauma, healing, mental health, and so much more. I am not gonna lie, it was quite a rough watch, but I also thought there was something so cathartic about seeing Mickey's journey and seeing him uncovering his experience and really telling his story. I think having a voice and expressing it is so important. And so seeing that in this film was something I really, really appreciated. Seeing him go through the process of therapy and uncovering those deeper layers of torment and progressing, but also dealing with unexpected setbacks as those layers are revealed. A lot of the inspiration for this film is centered around dreamers and the people in this world who have something to offer creatively, who have a gift, who have something that they can really bring forth to shine their light. But, as you know, there are many circumstances in life that can disrupt that can completely knock people off course, and their lives and their circumstances suddenly devolve into something they never ever thought it would be. The narrative here is also shining light on the flaws of our mental health system and how it often fails so many people. Recognizing that healing matters, therapy matters, mental health matters, and taking the steps to break cycles, to really expose those dark, vulnerable parts of yourself, that really does matter. And as someone who has been in therapy for at least 5 years, that has been such a rewarding experience. It has been a scary, challenging experience, but it has really helped shape me as a person for the better. And I think had I never made that choice to seek out help and to really just expose those things that I was dealing with, I would have a whole lot just weighing me down, just cluttering up my insides, and I'm very thankful to be free of all of that. Doesn't mean that I'm just 100% every day, and it doesn't mean that, I just got it all fixed, got it all worked out, but it does mean that the person that I was and the way that I dealt with people and situations and just how I expressed myself emotionally, all that is very, very different, and I have a very healthy view of life, of relationships and friendships and so much more, and it's still a learning process. So you never really just have it all figured out, but every day you learn more than you did before. And I can say that is something that is absolutely evident in my life right now. And so I am very grateful that this film was willing to deal with the highs and the lows of that experience, but just dealing with the reality of that overall. I think that is something that is very, very important, and I absolutely appreciated the insight. I also appreciated the way in which the film was shot. I am always here for a black and white aesthetic, whether it's an old Hollywood film or something shot in the present day. I always enjoy that. That's just something that personally I'm always here for. Additionally, I love the use of lighting and shadows in so many scenes and certain angles that were used and the variety of shots. That was something I also really appreciated. And of course, having Los Angeles as a backdrop for the story was also really enjoyable. Lastly, I really appreciated our three central performances, particularly Rashad Hunter. There is a lot, and I do mean a lot, that he has to dig into with Mickey as a character, with all of his complexities and flaws and just so much that makes that character who he is. But I thought it was a very compelling performance overall. I can see where it would be really easy to play that character in a very obvious, high-strung, kind of overblown way. But there's some subtlety and some nuance to how that character is portrayed and how the performance is given. And I think that was just the right touch. I liked that he was very complicated as well. He wasn't a villain and he wasn't a saint. Just a flawed and broken human being, like so many people in this world. I also enjoyed Stephen Cofield Jr. as Dr. Hardin. When it comes to therapists and the depiction of that, it's very easy to make that type of character something very stiff and one-dimensional and just flat to some extent. And again, as someone who has had an excellent therapist who has been very empathetic, who has been very understanding, very patient, and very insightful, I saw some shades of that in this character. And I was very grateful for that. Even having the character as another male and relating to him in that way, I just think that was very, very important to see. And those scenes in particular were just standouts for me because it was just like, you understand the gravity of that and just what it means for a character, or a person, I should say, to really break through with someone else's help, professionally. Then we have Ashley Parchment, who was holding up the rear as Mickey's love interest and the person that is his support system in general, because he obviously doesn't have one in any other sense of the word. I really enjoyed the carefree and peaceful energy that she brought to that character, and it was a nice refresher, considering there's a lot of dark, heavy things that are going on. And so when she's on the scene, you just see a complete disparity from that. And you just see where Mickey is a totally different person. He's able to tap into a completely different part of himself. And, you know, when you have the right partner, that is absolutely a benefit in those kinds of relationships. So that was also really nice to see. All right, now I'm going to jump over to the cons. While there were some really noteworthy elements here, there were also a few small things that didn't quite click with me. So the first thing is that there are a couple of moments with the camera work where the focusing is slightly off, or it feels like it's a bit of a jump with the focus. It's not something that was super distracting, but I did notice it here and there. I also thought some of the sound mixing was a little unbalanced. There are a couple of scenes where there is some external sound going on as the characters are talking, and it drowns out some of the dialogue. There's not a whole lot that's lost in translation, but it still was a little bit of a disconnect there, and I had to run it back to make sure I didn't completely miss it, or just to really make sure I heard what the characters were saying. Lastly, while I would say that I enjoyed most of the acting in this film, some of the supporting performances were just a little bit off. Most of it was fine, and there were no real issues, and I don't need just 100% perfection when it comes to acting. But on the other hand, there were moments where it didn't feel 100% authentic or completely tuned in to the emotion of the scene. So that caused a bit of a disconnect, because obviously I want to completely connect to the emotion and feel that, because that's when I really delve into the story. That's how I connect with what's going on. So there were some moments where it was a little distracting, because some of the facial expressions or some of the style of acting wasn't quite as focused as it could have been. So I'm going to give Mickey Hardaway a B. I think that this is yet another example of why I really enjoy and support this particular subsection of films because of how raw and insightful they are. And I can say without a doubt that I was able to take plenty of that away from this film. Shout out to Marcellus again for the request, and I look forward to seeing plenty more from you in the near future. Mickey Hardaway is currently playing the festival circuit with eventual streaming in early 2024. In the meantime, you can check out the original concept short on the following platforms. So, once again, this is D, Movieman, signing off, and I'll see you with the movies.